this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, the Shikamaru Hiden story continues. And it's a decidedly old school episode, because we're not seeing a lot of crazy summons and superpowers. We're getting to see ninjas do what they do best. What I think I loved most about this episode has to be the choice of soundtrack. They are doing a lot of the old soundtrack in this episode right here, and that's why I said it kind of reminds me of an old school episode of Naruto. But what I also really love about it is just the fact that the characters themselves, being the brand new ones, Ro and Soku, are perfect companions for Shikamaru, because he's not like your typical ninja from the series. He's no Naruto, he's no Sasuke, he's not going up against Kaguya or any superpowered alien ninja at any time. He uses his head, he uses strategy, and that's exactly what these characters do in this episode, and it'd almost be a disservice if I were to sort of give away some of the elements of the second half of this episode, so let me just give you sort of a preemptive spoiler warning, because the first half of the episode makes it seem like something else is going to go down, but by the end of it, you realize that we've all been tricked by some sort of cool ninja ability. So, first and foremost, the character of Soku. She basically just comes across as this extremely oppressive, annoyed, and just pissed off individual. She is tired of the way the whole new ninja world is working. A lot of that has to do with the fact that, one, everything is at peace, so the concept of shinobi is actually starting to become something of a foreign one. They're no longer needed. There's not these big epic scale battles that are going on, and basically they've been reduced to essentially just being delivery people. And this does not sit well with her at all, but for someone like Shikamaru, who has seen some real serious shit in his time, he's actually sort of like wanted to see this sort of peacetime, and you can see there's a lot of conflict between these two characters, which is sort of what drives most of this episode, because Soku herself doesn't even really want to be a part of Konoha Village anymore, especially with this mission, where the concept of going to the Land of Silence, where all these other rogue ninja are going, is seeming pretty appealing to her, because she doesn't have to go by Konoha's rules anymore. She can do whatever the hell she wants. And that's sort of what happens. In the first half of the episode, they go to, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, basically this old school western saloon. It looks like something out of freaking Gunsmoke. You throw some prostitutes in there, it's gonna turn into an old school western real damn quick. I'm talking the sliding doors, the whiskey, and the fact that they don't even serve water to their patrons. It's a pretty damn funny scene. But they have to go to this place because they're this much closer to the Land of Silence, which is still kind of a pretty mysterious place. I mean, we kind of see the entrance to it in this episode, and there's even a small scene at the beginning where we have Sai, who is still trapped within this place, and presumably being mind-raped by this brand new character by the name of Gengo, who may or may not be our villain of this arc. And he's trying to get into Sai's head, basically just starting to make him doubt himself, the fact that basically he was a straight replacement for Sasuke, and I'm really glad that they're bringing that up, because really, even when I was reading the manga for the first time and watching the anime version of Naruto Shippuden, that's sort of what I felt when I saw Sai for the very first time. He just sort of seemed like the poor man's version of Sasuke, minus all of the personality, and that's still saying a lot, because Sasuke really doesn't display a lot of personality. But it seems as if Sai is actually starting to break down a little bit here, but unfortunately we don't get to spend much time with him. The rest of the episode is basically this really elaborate plot by Shikamaru, Soku, and Ro, where they're going to try and decide to infiltrate the Land of Silence, and the way they do this is just miraculous, and it's not even revealed until the end of the episode. Throughout the entire episode, Soku is saying that she doesn't want anything to do with the group anymore, she's going to desert them, and she decides to join this kid by the name of Komori, who's actually from the Land of Silence. And they end up going to this big gate where she has this confrontation with all of these rogue ninja, and she gets to display her badass abilities, where she basically turns into Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho. She even does, like, the little gun thing with her hand when she actually like fires off her chakra. I don't know if it's a reference to that series or not, but it totally reminds me of that. And the fact that it also has like heat-seeking capabilities just makes it really damn cool to see in action. She's a surprisingly badass character, and it seems like she is going to betray both Shikamaru and Ro. However, this is all part of an extreme elaborate plot to actually infiltrate them from the inside. You see, that one kid by the name of Komori, again, like I said, he is actually a ninja. You don't know this at first, though, but Ro is actually able to trick him, because there's a scene where they're talking in this underground cellar, and Ro is able to attach his chakra to this rat, and he actually thinks it's a ninja that's in the room, but he realizes, oh, it's just a rat, everything's fine. that's when they realize, okay, this kid can recognize chakra. He's definitely a ninja, and that's when they decide that they're going to use Soku to actually go inside, figure out where this place is, and basically unlock the door for Shikamaru and Ro. Not to mention, they also make it seem like Soku takes out Shikamaru and Ro with her freaking heat-seeking chakra abilities, which the scene would be more shocking if it wasn't for the fact that we already know that there is a time skip where Shikamaru is still alive, but still, it was a shocking scene to say the least, and when it is officially revealed that it was Ro who was, like, suppressing all of their chakra, everything sort of fell into place. It was a classic Naruto moment to say the least, because I love when we get to see, like, 3 characters combining all of their abilities together, and it's always, like, a shock. It kind of reminds me in the very first arc of Naruto, and this was kind of like the moment that got me, like, really attached to the Naruto series, when both Naruto and Sasuke were fighting against Zabuza trying to save Kakashi. They were able to utilize all of their abilities in a lot of different ways, and not just use the physical ones. And that's kind of what's going on here. It's just a perfect combination of strategy and ninja ability, yet there's still a little bit of humor involved as well. Just the fact that Soku, despite the fact that she was sort of playing along with this, still doesn't like to take any of Shikamaru's crap. And in many ways, she's kind of like a younger, more jaded version of Shikamaru, if that's even freaking possible. If you remember back in the day, before he became this accomplished genius shinobi, he was probably the most apathetic character in the series. He didn't want to do anything. He just wanted to sit on his ass and play board games all day. He didn't want anything to do with the concept of ninja. It's simply something that he was sort of just born into and sort of like told by his father and his parents and his colleagues. It's only that he started to grow up and start to realize his importance to the village and what he could actually bring to the table that he realized, you know what, this whole ninja thing is actually kind of worth it. And I really love the scene when she even mentions that all of this stuff is a drag. Like I said, you can see a lot of young Shikamaru in Soku, and yet at the same time, you're starting to see Shikamaru turn into an adult in this series, which is something that I do find very intriguing. He's not like the old Shikamaru whatsoever. He's basically sort of like prim and propering himself so that he can become the advisor of Naruto, the future Hokage. So basically, the episode ends with Shikamaru, Ro, and Soku getting ready to infiltrate the Land of Silence so that they can save Sai, the other rogue ninja, and have a confrontation with this Gengo guy, who apparently is some sort of genjutsu master. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Like I said, this was a decidedly old school episode. A lot of that having to do with the music cues, which I honestly really did like. It's the type of thing that only really hardcore Naruto fans are going to notice, but I took notice of it immediately, and I think it added a lot of atmosphere to this episode and made it all the more distinctive. I would have, of course, liked a little more action, as I am an action junkie, but there were still some really cool scenes, like at the very beginning with Soku demonstrating her chakra needle abilities that have the ability to seek in on people, where she's chasing this one guy through the woods who she basically just obliterates. She completely destroys this guy. Not only does he end up getting hit by this thing, but he basically falls over the side of a cliff, which, of course, pisses off the other ninja from the Land of Silence. Really, though, I love the look of this episode. Especially when compared to the last one, I was a little down on the fact that it didn't have what I consider the same production value as what we saw with the Sasuke arc, but it's starting to get a little bit better here. Just the fact of seeing these ninja in like this old school western saloon, there's something really fun about that, and I wish they could have done more with that setting, maybe have like a big old school western brawl in there, but basically it was just a glorified setup to being introduced to the character of Komori and using him as an excuse to get into the Land of Silence. But really, again, just like the previous episode, and which was much more demonstrated here, is getting to see the actual growth of Shikamaru from being sort of like a whiny adolescent and transforming into a very mature adult. It's good character development, and it didn't even need to be in the series, but I am glad it's here. It kind of makes me wish we could spend more time with some of the other side characters of the series, but to my knowledge, a lot of these other side characters in the Naruto series are only going to get, like, episodes devoted to them if they were done in those novels, which were released like a year ago, and we only have a couple more of those to get through. We're this much closer to the Boruto anime series, so I can't wait to see how that's actually going to transition into that. That being said, this was a solid addition to the Naruto series, which is honestly really great if you're a Shikamaru fan. You might even become attached to these brand new characters, Soku and Ro. I think Soku is actually a lot of fun. Like I said, basically a more jaded female version of Shikamaru, but the fact that she's actually being influenced by Shikamaru just leads to a lot of really great funny scenes between these characters. And of course, there's that big twist at the end of the episode that they were sort of all in on this plan, which again is something that I've always loved about the Naruto series. You never really know what to expect until you get to the conclusion, and we're still only about halfway through this arc, so there's still going to be a lot more to see. So, solid episode right here, pretty good production value, lots of great twists, and I love the use of the old music. I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 5. That's right, it was entertaining as hell. There were a few moments that were a little so-so and a little slow, and some of the background character design, of course, as usual, is a little boring, especially the ninja from the Land of Silence. They just look like a bunch of random background characters. They look like Akatsuki rejects. Really nothing all that special about them. But who knows, maybe Gengo could change my mind of them. Maybe he will have some cool abilities and something unique to him. At the moment, though, it's all just a mystery. So, 4 out of 5 for me. Check it out, Naruto Shippuden fans. If any of you did watch this week's episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Are you enjoying this brand new Shikamaru-centric story? What do you think of the characters of Soku and Ro? Were you convinced that Soku was actually going to abandon the team, or did you see the plot twist coming? And what do you hope to see from the rest of this story as it leads into the brand new Boruto anime series? Please tell me in the comments, guys. Thank you again for watching. Make sure to subscribe for all of the latest Naruto Shippuden reviews and all of our other anime and manga reviews. If you like this video, please give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And leave me a comment or two. I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.